Are you gearing up for a home remodeling project? The contractor interview is your chance to find the perfect fit for your project and weed out people that aren't. In today's video, we'll guide you through mastering the contractor interview by highlighting key questions you should ask. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Joseph Patrick, co-founder of Lamont Brothers Design and Construction. Welcome back to our 3 easy steps to choosing your contractor. In this video, we'll empower you with the knowledge to master the contractor interview. Asking the right questions will help you find a contractor who understands your vision and delivers exceptional results. Let's dive in. So to ensure you get the most out of your contractor interview, we'll cover 3 categories of questions: design, construction, and financial. Before I give you specific questions, I want to encourage you, you need to ask the question, but then ask the second question. You want to ask, well, exactly how do you do that? Exactly what's the process? Or can you explain more about that? Because when you ask a second or third question, you're going to get deeper and you're going to get more information than you will if you just ask an initial question and accept the answer. First, design questions. So the first question you want to ask is, have you done similar projects and can I see pictures? It doesn't exist if there's no pictures. Every carpenter that we hire has pictures of their works because they're proud of it. And every remodeling company that's actually proud of their work takes pictures of it because they love it and they want to show it off. Ask, can you walk me through case studies of similar projects? Tell me costs, tell me size. Give me pictures of other projects that are similar to mine with more information than just pictures. Next question is, tell me about your design process. And here's where ask a second question, ask a third question, get really specific in what meetings do we have in the design process? What does the design process look like with you? And this is assuming you're working with a design build firm. Same thing would apply if you're talking to an architect or an outside designer. But you want to understand exactly what does that design process look like. And it would be a red flag if it's kind of fuzzy or there doesn't seem to be a lot of process about it. What you want is you want to work with a company that can produce consistent results. And in order to do that, they're going to have a process. The next category of questions has to do with construction. And the first one is, how often is someone from your company at my home? And that will really tell you a lot about how the construction company that you're talking to operates. Is somebody with leadership and authority there at your home regularly to make sure that your project is making progress? Or is that person mostly at the back office and has subcontractors kind of coming in and out to try to make progress? The next one is, what do you consider behind schedule? Some companies consider if they hit the finish date within a month or so, they're on schedule and they hit their goals. Some companies, it's within a day or two. So you want to ask them what's behind schedule of them so that your expectations are set appropriately and you guys agree that when they say this is a reasonable schedule and we can hit it, you're speaking the same language. Also ask them, do you track baseline on your schedule? And baseline is where at the beginning of the schedule you will set the baseline so you have a schedule that's set in stone, and then you might change it as things move around through the project, but you have that baseline, that original schedule so that you know if you're on track or off track. If they don't set a baseline, then the schedule's kind of a fluid, flexible thing that continues to change as things change in the project. So you don't really know if you're on schedule or off schedule. And then finally, you want to ask a question about work quality, but everybody's going to say they do great quality. And so what you want on all these questions is verifiable things. So ask them, what's your warranty? How long is your warranty? How do you service your warranty? How do you deal with, and have you ever had anything that's been outside the warranty, but it was a legitimate issue? If they've been around for decades, then you're gonna probably have them say, yes, we had an issue, and this is how we handled it. Finally, you wanna ask some financial questions. Start with the question of, can you walk me through your budgeting process? There's 2 places that remodeling projects typically go wrong financially. One is in budgeting, This is especially true with design build firms or when you're working with a general contractor or designer, and you start with a budget in the very beginning of the design process, and then you design a project that's double that budget. So you want to ask them, what's your budgeting process? And then the second place that things go wrong is in the construction process. They didn't do a good job pricing it, and so you're hit with a lot of change orders that should have been foreseen. Sometimes things can't be foreseen, but if you're hit with a lot of change orders that should have been foreseen, that's ideally what you don't want. So you're going to ask, how much do you recommend people reserve for an incidental change order during the project? That amount should be less than 10%, ideally about 5%. If it's more than 5 or 10%, that might be a red flag that the contractor you're talking to doesn't really take pricing the project out as seriously as they should. And then what I would ask for is the validatable data. Do you have any data on average what people spend over their original contract price with you? If they don't have data, you can't really validate it, but those are the questions you want to ask around the finances to make sure you're weeding out people that aren't good at budgeting or aren't really good at pricing the project out, so that you don't have financial surprises all the way through the project. And last, before you're done with the interview, you want to ask for some work samples. And I'll tell you why in the next video, but you want to ask for a sample contract. You want to ask for design drawings that they've done for another project or a sample. You want to ask for a proposal, and then you want to ask for a sample project schedule. Congratulations, you're now equipped with the key questions to master the contractor interview. Remember, a well-conducted interview is essential for finding a contractor who shares your vision and can bring it to life. Take the time to ask these crucial questions and make an informed decision for your remodel. Watch this next video where we'll cover how to assess and compare the contractors and ultimately choose the right contractor for your remodeling project.